Very good morning, it's Penuel the Black Pen. I hope the sound will be good. It's slightly windy. I'm coming to you from Bloemfontein in the Free State, the Vrystaat. This morning, very beautiful hotel that I'm at. Courtesy of the charity work I'm coming to do here. My life is eternally blessed. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted at all, and I'm eternally grateful for anyone and everyone who contributes to my life. I want to read an article today from the South African Jewish Report. This was released on the 7th of April, 2022. Before I read it, I just want to confirm, I'm a non-racialist. I'm also non-sexist. What that means is that I do not discriminate based on race or gender. Whether you are white, whether you are black, whether you are Indian, whether you are Chinese, Korean, whatever the case may be, whether you are male or female, I look at your character, I look at your spirit, I look at the work that you do. And if I believe that you're a good person and that we have values that align, I'm willing to work with you. So I'm going to read this article, and I'm reading it because there have been notions that it might be anti-Semitic. And there's a reason why I'm reading it. And it's because I think, especially for Africans, black Africans in particular, it's very important that we learn from groups like the Jewish nation on how to take care of matters that are very, very important to us. So please bear with me. This article was written by Tali Feinberg. Hitler committed no crime, lecturer still in his post. 1 year after University of Cape Town political science lecturer claimed Hitler committed no crime, he remains firmly in his academic seat. Dr. Lwazi Lushaba uttered the statement on the eve of Yom HaShoah 2021 in a pre-recorded lecture addressing first-year students on the evolution of political science. During the talk, Lushaba claimed that politics hadn't been informed by the lived experiences of black people, and that it took what Hitler did to white people to have massacres recognized by political science. All Hitler did was to do to white people what white people All Hitler did was to do to white people what white people had reserved for us, black people, Lushaba said. And so his crime, if he had a crime, was to do unto white people what white people have thought was right to do only to black people. He went on to say that the Holocaust mustn't be prioritized over other massacres. While some students and academics were deeply upset and angered by this, others felt it was taken out of context. The Democratic Alliance, the DA, was so incensed it laid a complaint with the South African Human Rights Commission at the time. The university established an evaluation panel that found that the lecture was within the framework of academic freedom. The panel maintained that this is the case, particularly in the full context of the lecture and within the context of a critique of Western humanist philosophy and its political consequences. It said no action was necessary, according to UCT spokesperson Elijah Moholola. In response to questions from the SA Jewish Report about the matter, after the university hadn't released any comment in 12 months, Moholola said the university established the evaluation panel at the request of the Vice-Chancellor. The panel considered the full context in which the lecture in question was delivered and within the framework of academic freedom, and determined whether or not the transcript of the lecture in question constituted a prima facie case of anti-Semitism. The panel noted that Dr. Lushaba's words were open to other interpretations, particularly when not considered in the full context of the lecture, said Moholola. A report was concluded and shared with the leadership of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, SAJBD, and Dr. Lushaba himself. Cape Board Chairperson Zvi Brivik told the SA Jewish Report the board still asserts that these comments, while they may be protected by academic freedom, in this instance were deeply offensive to members of our community. We feel all academic institutions should create a safe environment for all their students, taking into account their emotional and physical well-being. This event, which we resolved with the university, created a significant amount of distress for Jewish students to whom we offered counseling. He said that after students reported the comments to the Cape SAJBD, it engaged with the Vice-Chancellor of UCT requesting a formal investigation to be launched. UCT formed an evaluation panel which found that the comments made weren't anti-Semitic and were protected by academic freedom given the context in which the statements were made. As this ruling was final and binding, the board was unable to take further internal action against Dr. Lushaba, said Cape Board Executive Director Daniel Block. We strongly condemn anti-Semitism and discrimination, including defamation and hate speech, and believe there's no place for hate, said Block. We recognize the right of each individual to free speech and to express their own opinion, but we put forward the idea that our entire Western Cape community, especially those in positions of leadership, take up the challenge of becoming practitioners of careful, thoughtful, and deliberate positive communication. The DA is waiting for feedback from its complaint. However, it says the commission has a huge backlog. When laying the complaint, DA Chief Whip Natasha Mazzoni said, "The Holocaust was unequivocally a crime against humanity orchestrated by Hitler. The DA therefore strongly condemns the comments made by Lushaba. His comments were not only racist, offensive and vile, but also completely insensitive to the victims and survivors of the Holocaust and the Jewish community as a whole." At the time the comments were made, the South African Holocaust and Genocide Foundation's Mary Klook and Tali Nates said the Holocaust is one of the most horrific periods in the history of mankind. It's deeply disturbing to hear a reference to this painful history in a manner so laden with irony and cynicism without consideration of the damage and hurt that this flippant reference can cause. Now, Klook said, although Dr. Lushaba's words were designed to shock students into understanding and recognizing other horrors of the 20th century, they were offensive and hurtful. It would be extremely disappointing if he used the same technique again, because such tactics disrespect all who have suffered. In his book, The Fall of the University of Cape Town, Africa's Leading University in Decline, Professor David Benatar devotes a chapter to exploring why Lushaba's comments were so problematic. Now, he said, "I agree that Dr. Lushaba was exercising his rights to freedom of expression and academic freedom, and I don't think that he should be subjected to any official sanction for what he said. However, that's a separate question from the question whether what he said was factually correct or morally decent. His words were neither. As I argued at the time, looking at his comments in their context doesn't exonerate them. It's a pity that UCT lacks either the capacity or the will to recognize this. It's also a pity that UCT is only selectively interested in the freedom of expression and academic freedom. The institution correctly invokes these principles in its defense of Dr. Lushaba, but regularly and wrongly tramples over them on other occasions." The South African Jewish Report asked Lushaba if he would repeat his comments in his lectures this year, but didn't get a response. Said Breivik, "If a Jewish student experiences hate speech or anti-Semitism, they must report the incident to the Cape Board via WhatsApp, text, or call using our hashtag #ReportHate hotline available from 8 to 5 weekdays on a certain number given here, or fill in the Report Hate tool with the website link that's put here. We will investigate the matter with the help of our anti-Semitism and legal subcommittee, and when necessary engage with senior administration of the university, such as the Vice-Chancellor or the Registrar. We also encourage students to pursue the various dispute resolution mechanisms on offer at the university, which include contacting their class representative, student representative council, course convener, head of department, or the dean." South African Jewish Report. Dr. Lwazi Lushaba has come out as a very strong opinion and voice, especially for Pan-Africanism, for pro-blackness, and just for speaking on behalf of black people with regards to the painful history that black people have. I'm surprised, if not impressed, that UCT was able to protect him under academic freedom and to keep referring to the full context of what he was speaking about, because that doesn't necessarily happen when people get attacked, especially on social media and on other platforms. What's more inspiring for me is seeing again how organized Jewish people are. The South African Jewish Report is just a newspaper. I pick it up when I can, every now and then, to learn, to read about what Jewish people are doing, what they're up to, because I admire them very much, not just in the South African context, but in the world at large, and what they've achieved for their people. And I think it's something that Africans, including and especially black Africans, because I recognize all other Africans across races, something that black Africans can learn from. Huey P. Newton of the Black Panthers spoke about being organized. Get organized. Get organized. And if you can do that, begin drafting a list of values, a vision, objectives for your people. And your people is not necessarily a race. It's not necessarily a religious group. It is people that share your values, that are aligned to what you believe in. And then make sure that you fight for what your people want and need, and you defend them from what's out there. We've got spaces like the Muslims that have halal We've got spaces like the Jewish community that have kosher. But there are so many other spaces that are not protected, that don't even know what their people are about. This is me just sharing some information and education with you. Do with it what you will. I'm hoping at some point I can sit with Dr. Lwazi Lushaba and get to pick his mind and get to teach him, inform him, sharpen minds, clash where we can debate, learn from each other and grow together so that we can build a better South Africa, not just for the black masses, but for everyone here, for everyone on the African continent, and for humanity at large. Love you guys very much. Coming from Bloemfontein, like I said. Stunning hotel. Hope you'll have a great day. I hope you'll have a great weekend. Stay warm, stay fighting. Cheers.